Millions of Toyota cars and trucks have been recalled due to a manufacturing defect that causes accelerators to stick. Now, Toyota is eyeing Corollas for power steering problems. This has not been a good couple of months for Toyota. Andy Crouppen of Brown & Crouppen joins us to talk about some of the legal issues surrounding this recall. Andy, last time we talked about this, granted it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I guess.
It was.
You've changed your tune a little bit towards Toyota, it sounds like, since
then.
I
have. I couldn't sleep last night. I've got some scores to settle today.
Because last time we were here, the idea was they're being proactive, they're getting out in front of this. Now, the more we hear, the more it sounds like there might be a systemic thing going on here. Maybe.
It sounds like it. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't like doing it in the first place. I always liked Hondas better anyway. But it seemed like they were doing the right thing. So I got to settle my score with Toyota. I also got to settle my score with my Aunt Amy, who said that, you know, Steph is here. She's not used to being on television all the time like you and I. She's a little nervous. I put my arm around her, and she accused me of putting my arm a little too low.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Really? This was last week when your significant other was here.
Which is, which is so, she's a few years older than me, thinks she's wiser, and so Aunt Amy,
careful.
There was none of that. Anyway, back to Toyota. Now we can get to
I'm glad you cleared the air with
No,
your
they got real problems, and it sounds like they're not being as forthcoming as it seemed like they first were. They have an attorney who apparently left under suspicious circumstances. It sounds like he was forced out or forced to resign. They gave him a few $1 million to do so.
Oh my, well.
Dad, if you're out there listening, I will take $4 million to resign
to leave the company?
Yeah.
But he's out there saying that he might have some things in his possession to shed some light on this issue.
4 boxes of documents, I think, that they're going back and forth in litigation that they may actually be somehow publicly released through a separate lawsuit that he's been asked to testify in Texas, I think in the next week or so. So it could get interesting. And then you have Steve Wozniak, who's out there just on talk shows saying, hey, I've been trying to tell you guys my Prius isn't working right. You got a software glitch and no one's listening. And so I think because of the other recall, he's getting some momentum. And then they have the Corolla, which, you know, I thought it was just sort of people piling on to Toyota. This was going to be a nothing. And then I read about it, and it's serious, dangerous power steering problems at high speed. It doesn't get worse than that.
This is the latest. For people that aren't familiar, the Transportation Department is supposed to launch a formal investigation starting today into the 2009-2010 Corolla. Sounds like Toyota, anyway, I don't know what the government numbers are, but Toyota's saying they've had 80 people come forward to say that they just lose power steering behind the wheel, which would be a problem.
I'd rather not have brakes.
Yeah, seriously.
Let me keep the steering.
You can still throw it in park. You lose steering, and you got some bigger problems. If this is handled, let's say best case scenario, this is handled so well, a year from now, Toyota's back on track. Do you think they're ever going to have the image back that they once did?
Yeah, of course they will. It seems like the public's memory is so short. We see it in politics. We see it across the board. We see Merck with Vioxx. You know, their image took a real hit for a short period of time. They did some things that publicly didn't look good, but they're right back where they were beforehand. I think their stock is probably higher than it ever was. I think everyone gets a second chance. They can turn it around, but it'll take a while because I think this is going to drag out through the courts for a while and really make them look bad, but 5 years down the line, they'll be back on top.
Well, we appreciate you guys staying on top of this, too. And for folks that are watching at home that might be driving one of these things, because this is the thing that worries me a little bit. I don't own a Toyota, but I wouldn't be surprised if one day I did. You buy a car new, they have your contact information. They can get a hold of you. But you buy it used off of somebody else, you're probably not going to get a notification of the recall.
Probably not. But it's hard to avoid it. Luckily, they publicize these things pretty well.
Like you.
You and I are doing our part.
We are.
We probably saved 20 lives today.
All the world's problems, I'm sure. If you have a legal question of any kind...